Hey, third graders, sorry this took me so long, but I wanted to show you this new edition. This is Claude, and this is his mom, Clara, who's really mad about Claude reading Harry Potter with us. Claude is a little boy, and he's awfully cute, and Clara's being a really good mom. Okay. And we're going to try to read this story out in the barn. Right, Claudie? Right, Clara? All right. It looked like the end of Ron and Hermione's friendship. Each one was so angry with the other that Harry couldn't see how they'd ever make up. Ron was enraged that Hermione had never taken Crookshank's attempts to eat Scabbers seriously. Hadn't bothered to keep a close eye. I am trying to read. You are being rude. Are you looking for your little guy? Claude's right here. Okay, Claire didn't take down the computer. I'm still here with you. I don't know how much of this we're going to get read, you guys, but we sure are going to try. Hadn't bothered to keep a close enough watch on him and was still trying to pretend that Crookshanks was innocent by suggesting Ron look for Scabbers under all the boys' beds. Hermione, meanwhile, maintained fiercely that Ron had no proof that Crookshanks had eaten Scabbers, that the ginger hairs might have been there since Christmas, and that Ron had been prejudiced against her cat ever since Crookshanks had landed on Ron's head in the magical menagerie. Right? Personally, Harry was sure that Crookshanks had eaten Scabbers, and when he tried to point out to Hermione that the evidence all pointed that way, she lost her temper with Harry, too. Okay, side with Ron. I knew you would, she said shrilly. First the firebolt, now Scabbers. Everything is my fault, isn't it? Just leave me alone, Harry. I've got a lot of work to do. Ron had taken the loss of his rat very hard indeed. Come on, Ron. You were always saying that how boring Scabbers was, said Fred bracingly, and he's been off color for ages. He was just wasting away. It was probably better for him to snuff it quickly, one swallow, and he probably didn't feel a thing. Oh, Claude, you can't listen to that nonsense. We can't let you go in one swallow. Fred, said Jenny indignantly. All he did was eat and sleep, Ron. You said it yourself, said George. He bit Goyle for us once, Ron said miserably. Remember, Harry? His finest hour, said Fred, unable to keep a straight face. Let the scar on Goyle's finger stand as a lasting tribute to Scabbers' memory. Oh, come on, Ron, get over yourself. Go on down to Hogsmeade and buy a new rat. What's the point of moaning around here? In a last-ditch attempt to cheer Ron up, Harry persuaded him to come along to the Gryffindor team's final practice before the Ravenclaw match, so that he could have a go on the firebolt after they'd finished. This did seem to take Ron's mind off of Scabbers. Okay, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to turn it, and we're going to pause because, he was just nursing on his mom. My barn is under construction, you guys. That's why all that is a mess. Final practice before the Ravenclaw match, so that Ron could have a go on the firebolt after they'd finished. This did seem to take Ron's mind off Scabbers for a moment. Brilliant. Can I try and shoot a few goals on it? So they set off for the Quidditch pitch together. Madame Hooch, who was still overseeing the Gryffindor practices to keep an eye on Harry, was just as impressed with the firebolt as everyone else had been. She took it in her hands before takeoff and gave them the benefit of her professional opinion. Look at the balance on it. If the Nimbus series has a fault, it's a slight list to the tail end. You often find they developed a drag after a few years. They've updated the handle, too, a bit slimmer than the clean sweeps. Reminds me of the old silver arrows. A pity they stopped making that style of broom. I learned to fly on one, and a very fine old broom it was, too. She continued in this vein for some time until Oliver Wood said, Madam Hooch, is it okay if Harry has the firebolt back? Oh, it's just, we need to practice a little. I'm gonna All right. Maybe they'll come, maybe they won't. "Oh, right, here you are then, Potter," said Madam Hooch. "I'll sit over here with Weasley." She and Ron left the pitch to sit on the stadium, and the Gryffindor team gathered around Wood for his final instructions for tomorrow's match. "Harry, I've just found out who Ravenclaw are playing as their seeker. It's Cho Chang. She's a fourth year, and she's pretty good. I really hoped she wouldn't be fit, but she's had some problems with injuries." Oliver Wood scowled at his displeasure that Cho Chang had made a full recovery, then said, "On the other hand, she rides a Comet 260, which is going to look like a joke next to your firebolt." He gave Harry's broom a look of fervent admiration. Oh, and he's eating off his mom. You can't see it very well, but he's suckling in there. Do you see his little tail wagging? Usually they wag their tails when they're getting milk. "Okay, everybody, let's go." And at long last, Harry mounted his firebolt and kicked off from the ground. It was better than he'd ever dreamed. The firebolt turned at the lightest touch. It seemed to obey his thoughts rather than his grip. It sped across the pitch at such speed that the stadium turned into a green and gray blur. Harry turned it so sharply that Alicia Spinnet screamed, and then he went into a perfectly controlled dive, brushing the grassy pitch with his toes before rising the 30, 40, 50 feet into the air again. "Harry, I'm letting the snitch out," Wood called. Harry turned and raced a bludger towards the goalpost. He beat it easily, saw the snitch dart out from behind Wood, and within 10 seconds he had caught it tightly in his hand. The team cheered madly. Harry let the snitch go again and gave it a minute head start, then tore after it, weaving in and out of the others. He spotted it lurking near Katie Bell's knee, looped her easily, and caught it again. This was the best practice ever. The team was inspired by just the presence of the firebolt in their midst. They performed their best moves faultlessly, and by the time they had hit the ground again, Oliver Wood didn't have a single criticism to make, which, as George Weasley pointed out, was a first. "I can't see what's going to stop us tomorrow," said Wood. "Not unless Harry, you've sorted out your Dementor issue, haven't you?" "Yeah," said Harry, thinking of his feeble Patronus, wishing that it was stronger. "The Dementors won't turn up again, Oliver. Dumbledore will go nuts if they do," said Fred confidently. "Well, we're going to hope not," said Wood. "Anyway, good work, everyone. Let's go back to the tower. Turn in early." "Claude, you're just the cutest." Let's go back to the tower and turn in early." "I'm staying out for a bit. Ron wants to have a go on the firebolt," Harry told Wood. And while the rest of the team headed off towards the changing rooms, Harry strode over to Ron, who vaulted the barrier to the stands and had come to meet him. Madam Hooch had fallen asleep in her seat. "Here you go," said Harry, handing Ron the firebolt. Ron, an expression of ecstasy on his face, mounted the broom and zoomed off into the gathering darkness, while Harry walked around the edge of the pitch, watching him. Night had fallen before Madam Hooch woke up with a start, told Harry and Ron off for not waking her, and insisted that they go back to the castle. Harry shouldered the firebolt, and he and Ron walked out of the shadowy stadium, discussing the firebolt's superbly smooth action, its phenomenal acceleration, and its pinpoint turning. They were halfway towards the castle when Harry, glancing to his left, saw something that made his heart turn over. A pair of eyes gleaming out of the darkness. Harry stopped dead, his heart banging against his ribs. "What's the matter?" said Ron. Harry pointed. Ron pulled out his wand and muttered, "Lumos!" A light beam fell across the grass, hit the bottom of the tree, and illuminated its branches. There, crouching amongst the budding leaves, was Crookshanks. "Get out of it!" Ron roared, and he stooped down and seized a stone lying on the grass, but before he could do anything else, he was going to throw a rock at Crookshanks. The cat had vanished with one swish of its long ginger tail. "See," said Ron furiously, chucking the stone down again. "She's still letting him wander about wherever he wants, probably washing down Scabbers with a couple of birds now. And she's getting a drink, too, washing things down." Harry didn't say anything. He took a deep breath as relief seeped through him. He had been sure for a moment that those eyes had belonged to the Grim. They set off for the castle once more, slightly ashamed of his moment of panic. Harry didn't say anything to Ron, nor did he look left or right until they had reached the well-lit entrance hall. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed seeing Clara and Claude. Oh, he's up there. He is. And part of the farm. And I hope that you have a great night. And I'll try to do more read-alouds with these guys. The weather is turning up. And hopefully we'll have some more lambs here in the next day or two. And you can virtually meet all of them. Hopefully I see you on the Zoom call soon. Bye. Have a good night.